Hey guys, welcome to the channel. We're back here with another video. This one's going to be kind of new for me, so we're going to be playing it along as we go. There's a lot of drum modifying sounds, E-rings, drops, moon gel, what have you, that are around and have been around. And I have always been an E-ring guy. I will show you. This is what I've had on every time I've ever recorded any videos for the channel. With the exception of the snare, I've started taking off. And I just kind of wondered whether there's a big difference up front, whether there's a difference in, like editing. And so I was going to compare them all just kind of as we go. If you are here and you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing that. The videos do take a decent amount of work depending on what we're doing. And if you're here and you are subscribed, thank you very much. I appreciate the support. As far as microphones go, this is a lapel mic. It looks really silly, but I have the world's shortest cord, so I'm just using this for voices, doing nothing else as far as the mix you'll hear. These overheads are Golden Age ribbon mics. They're, what are they, the R1s? The R1s. So those are two R1s, and then I have a snare mic here, which is a Telefunken M80, and then a bass mic, which is a Shure E602, E something. That's just what I use to record it. And then there's a room mic behind the camera that is a condenser mic. It is a Sennheiser MK2, I think. So we'll start with just the simple hits. I only need one stick for this. I'll hold the other one while I do this. So just some straightforward hits. I don't really have much to say about that right now. That's just what I'm used to. So we'll play a little just drum alone. We'll play just the drums alone. And, I don't even know if doing a mixed in sample is really beneficial, just because you can kind of drown that out or however you want. So we'll do just kind of a quick groove or something with all the cymbals set up as is, and then we'll move on to the next ones and then kind of offer some observations. So. Try to recreate that. Okay. So that's with the E-rings on. I'm curious to see how it's going to feel. There's a lot of, depending on how you use the floor toms, there's a lot of, it almost feels dead. So we're going to take everything, all these off. I don't anticipate continuing to use E-rings, truthfully, which is part of why I wanted to do this, because depending on what my observational research here shows, I may just toss these. They're kind of grimy, truthfully. But having said that, I didn't want to make that decision just yet. So E-rings are off. We'll go ahead and do plain drum heads. So these, there's a billion things that impact your sound on your drums, and one of those is your head. So I'm using a all Evans heads, tops, beaters and resos, and the tops are G2 coated on the toms, and then the snares are Panera Dry with reso bottoms. And then the kick is also Evans, but again, we're not kind of comparing that. So we'll do just some simple hits to kind of get a bass sound without the rings on. So let's see what this sounds like. All right, so that's without the heads, just again some simple strikes. We'll go ahead and play a couple things just to see how they stack up. I'll try to play the Rosanna kind of abbreviated thing I did. It's my favorite song, but it's also a pretty good. He's got a couple of good fills there that I think are familiar enough to compare. So we'll see how this sounds. Let's see what we got here. So that's without the heads. Let me play a couple rolls real quick, just kind of goof off some. So, a couple thoughts. You know, without the heads or without the rings on, feel wise, it feels like the drums just try to eat the stick a little more. I don't know if those heads actually add more tension or if that's just something I'm making up in my head. Sound wise, I guarantee there's going to be some gate issues because I've set it up to already have the rings on. And I would just imagine there's going to be a lot more overtones. So not bad, but just different. So let me fast forward through this segment, and I'll put some moon gels on kind of each one. I'm going to go as simple as I can. So I think the goal of the moon gel, you can kind of cater how much muffling you want, or if there's certain spots of where you're getting overtones in your heads, you can kind of target those areas. I'm just going to try my best to put them on in a place that it feels like I'm getting the result I want, and then see what we've got going on. So We're back. I've put moon gels on all of these in various spots. There's almost certainly going to be some user error here, or user preference, depending on how you look at it. A couple things that I noticed: it is still nowhere near as muffled as the E-rings are. Let's give it a shot. Like I said, just start with some simple hits, and then we'll kind of go around the kit and then do some other stuff and just play a simple groove. So just the moon gels, like I said, kind of thrown on there. That sounds good. So what I'm going to do is take a couple hits with the gels on, and then I'll take it off and do a head-to-head quick comparison. So moon gels off. There's like a 10%, like I'm getting a little trashy St. Anger snare that's sneaking in there, and then the moon gel kind of cuts that out. Like it's like a 10% overtone that's just getting knocked out of that. Yeah, that sounds good. Like even near rim shots, I'm not getting any kind of harmonics. So let me put this down real quick. So this is with the moon gel, and then take off. The tom change doesn't strike me as much, if that makes sense. It's more of a volume thing, and the sustain. The tone's not that much different. All right, let me get these. I'm going to try to be at least somewhat homogeneous about it. So the bigger the drum, it's like it's still ringing out more. Maybe you could put 2 or 1.5. So that's with the moon gel. Take this off. So there's definitely some. Let's try to stick that back on there. It muffles it a bit. Again, with the moon gel, I'm kind of angling these like if the edge of the rim is like this, I'm kind of angling them up against the rim and just kind of sitting there. So take this off, it's vibrating. So that's with moon gel on the floor tom there. And then we will take that off, just kind of glop it there. See, that's a huge difference. So there's a lot of ringing from the Rezo head, which you can tune differently to fix that, right? Like, this is just how I have my drums tuned. But that harmonic frequency is not there. It knocks that out. And then Big Dog down here on the floor. So like I said, I'm just trying to get them all in the same position-ish. Kind of the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. With the moon gel, and then it's like it's taking out a good bit of, not reverb, but just sustain. So definitely can tell a difference feel-wise too, to some extent. And it's not quite as noticeable. It's a good middle ground, I would say. That the rings are a lot more muffling, it seems, to my ear. I don't know what it's going to sound like through the mic. So let's play a little something, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. Let me play a couple more rolls here, and then I think that'll be it. And I had mentioned that I was going to run through what effects I'm putting in each of these tracks and kind of post-processing stuff, because as I mentioned earlier, you know, some of this matters and a lot of it is in recording technique, which I'm not an expert at and I'm still trying to get the hang of, truthfully. But just to kind of be transparent about what post effects are happening here. So these are my 5 tracks for each of the 5 microphones that I had set up for this video. The first 2 are overheads grouped, so those are equal in volume. 3 and 4 are the snare and kick respectively, and then the 5th input is the room mic, which is just like I said, a condenser mic to pick up some of the just a little bit of extra things. And so typically I would run a compressor and a gate on these, but I've taken those off just to kind of give you all a more fair judgment of what these sound like. I didn't want to, you know, over compress some things or so on and so forth. So I've taken that off, and we'll probably take off the reverb for now. Like I said, typically you'll have a little bit of reverb added in, especially whenever you're recording in, like, you know, I have a small bedroom that we've turned into a music room. So usually you would have something like that on some of these tracks, but I've taken those off just so that the only thing essentially is just an EQ band or an EQ to try to tweak what these mics are picking up and boosting to filter out some of the unwanted, like, you know, you don't want like a ton of kick drum in your overheads, like things like that. So I didn't do anything too crazy, but apart from the EQ, I took off the compressor and the gate and the reverb just so that we could get a decent comparison. So I'll kick back to the rest of the video and then go from there. Like I said, all one take, camera, mics, the whole shebang. One take, I'll apply it to this mix and then see how that difference is. I would imagine the Moon Gels are going to sound the best, but I've also made most of my presets for the E-rings, which I think will affect mostly the gating and things. So we'll see how it sounds. If you guys, let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, leave a comment. I'm sorry it's kind of cattywampus, but this is kind of on the fly to try to figure out, like I said, just to make a video, but I didn't really know how the best way to do this would be. And so we'll see what we find out, and then I'll see you guys next time. So thank you guys for watching. Be safe out there and take it easy.